Well, hey there, and welcome to yet another one of my cheesy YouTube videos. This video is part 3 of the 1974 Volkswagen Super Beetle wiring saga. And in today's video, we're going to pull the dash out along with the seats and the carpeting. So let's get started. First thing that needs to be done is to take the hood release cable off that is accessed through a hole on the hood latch. You'll pull the cable out with the dash. There are 2 screws on each side, one right here and one underneath the dash, and a bracket under the dash close to the ashtray that has a nut that needs to come off. I'm going to squirt this with a PV blaster and let it soak while I'm working on the rest of the dash. This is another reason why I want to get the dash out. I don't know if you can see the dirt just falling out from underneath here. This car come out of Oklahoma, and I'm thinking it's been caught in a dust storm or sandstorm. And as much as I'm finding dirt in places like this, if I have any sense, before I run this engine real hard, I'll pull that engine out, take all the shrouds off of it, and make sure it's not packed full of sand. On this one, the steering wheel horn button, I guess we'll call it, it just popped right out. These little black tabs go into these little holes right here and they snap in. And I got a nut down inside here I'm going to take out. You have 2 covers, one right here and one at the other end of this panel that need to come out, and they just pop out. If you have to put a little screwdriver behind there, they just got these little deals that recess into these holes, and this gives you access what should have been 2 screws, and this will take out this section of panel. Well, that one came off in pieces. You take them nuts off. Pull the wiring off from the bottom of the steering column. And there's 2 Allen bolts. That should take a 6mm to pull them out. I'm going to loosen them up, let the steering column drop down just a little bit, so this little row of switches has better clearance to get out of there with. There was a plastic decorative piece right here that's somewhere in this car, and the other day I just popped it on out. There are switches on either side of this piece of trim that we took out. This switch, I'm not sure if it was in there, but it was just laying loose behind there when I popped this back. It either fell out on its own or it's been loose for a long time. So I got to take the switches out of the other end. 27mm takes the steering wheel nut off. I was able to snatch it off without having to use any puller. I did have this little metal wire fall out when I pulled the steering wheel off. I'll have to find out what its job is. With the plate that had the switches installed in it out of the way, I can reach behind the dash and push the speedometer out. I'll wiggle and jiggle on it to get enough clearance to take the wires off, and I most likely will have to mark them. I got some tape and a pen. I'll mark the wires where they came from. That's a lot of dirt. There are a couple knobs for the air that have to come off. I just pulled them off. They're held on with a nut that takes the spanner. Oh, there it goes. They come off real easy. I believe this is a light. I was able just to grab the light with a pair of pliers and pull it out forward, and the plug came undone as I pulled it out. I also have the fan switch to come out. I just pulled the knob off, and I'll just take the nut off and shove it through. The dash just kind of looks like it's going to snatch out. It's got to go up and over the steering column. Got one duct here that's hanging me up. There it goes, it snapped out. Got some tabs I need to bend out of the way so the harness will sit free from the dash. There's a tab right between the speedometer and the shift column to the little side vent here that's still attached. There's another tab to black wire tie right in here. Hopefully you can see it. And the dash is out. When you're pulling the dash loose, you got to slide these clips. It's off of these little hangers. There's cut wires, and I'm sure there's mouse-eating wires. Dirt. As far as the carpet's concerned, it's just been pulling out. The carpet is extremely light. It's thin. There's not much to it. It was glued in spots to hold it in. The carpet's not one molded carpet going over the hump and everything. It's sections. So I'll just continue pulling it out. I wouldn't just grab the carpet and rip it out because it's so thin. I would roll it, give you some meat to grab hold of when you pull it, so hopefully you won't tear the carpet itself. But I think I'm going to reuse it. Looks like it'll clean up. Now let's get the seats out. This pin rides in this hole, and it latches on one of the holes in the seat itself. It was wired closed with this wire. Should have a cable going from this lever to the pin. Pull the lever, slide the pin out. That's all missing. There's supposed to be something about a leaf spring that you're supposed to shove a screwdriver in and release, but on the driver's side there was no such thing. Remember, this wire right here was pinched underneath the slide of the back of the seat, and the seat wouldn't move. I used that sledgehammer to tap on the front of the seat on the framework, and you take the seat all the way back, and your slides on the back will fall out of the tracks, and since your pin is out, it'll just lift right out. There's supposed to be a wire for the seatbelt warning that was unhooked. So the driver's side seat is out. We'll see how bad the passenger side seat is. This is the harness going back. I think we're going to replace the entire harness. We could patch it, get it running, but since it's going to be my granddaughter's, I'm certain her dad wants it to be as dependable as it can be, so he's already looked up the harness. I'm thinking he may have even ordered it. We still might play with it, try to patch some of this wiring and drive it out of here. And I got some brakes that are dragging. I'm thinking that someone pulled the park brake while I was at the auction. I don't recommend doing that till you get the car somewhere where it can be okay if the brakes are locked up, because a lot of times the park brake cable will freeze up in its sheave if it hasn't been used on a regular basis. And I'm thinking that's probably what happened. It's dragging enough to made it a pain in the ass to get it in this shop. So probably tomorrow I'll put this thing on jack stands and take a few hubs apart and see if we can find out where it's dragging. But today I'm going to vacuum it. I got some flat tires that need some attention. I just want to get them good enough to roll it in and out. And once we get it to where it rolls freely, then it's going to go out and we will pressure wash everything. The only thing I left in is a headliner and some, side panels and stuff. Probably should take them out too. Vacuuming and then a good cleaning, and then we'll start going back together with it when we get a harness. Well, there you go, part 3 of the Volkswagen Super Beetle wiring saga. We'll go ahead and shoot some videos of getting the brakes freed up and working. I want to do a video on getting the air ducts and everything in place for the heater system. There's a bunch of questions there because people have butchered some of the cowlings and stuff. And part 4 of the wiring saga will most likely be reinstalling a new harness when we got it. I just texted my son and he said it's on the way. So thank you for watching this video. Please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and remember, if you love life and learning new things, go aimless.com.